I hate these things. I hate these things. Planning for Windows end of support. Remind me later. Go away. Go away. Ah! Yeah, I want that back. Thank you. Oh, okay, whoops. A recording. It just started recording. That's weird. Okay. Sorry. My brain. Oh, I got a lot of the why should I? Anyway, so I'm trying to clean. But as always, I've always got so many great things that I say while I'm cleaning. That's the problem, though. You can't hear me while I'm cleaning because I'm making noises and walking away. And, oh, well. Maybe something will get caught. I don't know. Anyway, the first thing I wanted to do, though, since I titled it Sorry Salem, is to say sorry, Salem. You messaged me the other day, and I haven't gotten back to you yet. For as much as my brain wants to use the excuses, oh, I missed that message. Oh, Benji had my phone. It's there. It's still in my unread file. Just can't pull myself to do it. Anyway, and why? I don't need to. Oh, yeah, okay. People are going to get really sick and tired of hearing that. I am. I could go through the whole process that leads up to that makes it sound not so bad, or I can just give you the final answer in the brain. The brain is saying don't need to. I could sit here and talk about how I see your name and it automatically takes me down memory lane, makes me remember things that I wanted to do and didn't do, the failures, the successes too. Makes me think about, so that's the past, and then there's the more current, present, and how it's all still the same. You just want to be able to report something new. There is nothing new. You don't want to sit there and say the same sad story, but that's the only story you have. I was thinking of Galaxy Glitter Girl the other day. I can't remember why. I think Benji had a toy or something that reminded me of it. I'm sad that we lost those pictures. For those who do not know, Salem is a very crafty, creative buddy of mine. And she does makeup, like in fun, weird ways. And she and I, one night, decided to do makeup. And she did my makeup in a, I don't know, out of this world spacey type way. And put glitter all over me and gave me this ball that had glitter in it. So that's Galaxy Glitter Girl. Anyway, wow. Can't sit here for too long because I really do need to get that cleaning done. But oh no, it's just upsetting. It's a bummer because there's things I wish I could talk to you about. Like the fact that I'm sick, but I can't be sick like everyone else anymore. Oh my gosh, that's so annoying. Um, and the fact that the best thing for me, the real fix for me, is exactly the opposite of what I think I want, which is to walk away from everything. Kind of like a reset. Hmm. Because part of my problem is too much of an overfocus. If it was a regular focus, it would be fine, but it's too overfocused. This is why when I do things like cleaning and not being online, not being on camera and stuff, that all of a sudden I can say stuff and I can say it really well because there's not the overfocus. I'm not trying so hard to get information across. Like when I was talking to Terry the other day, she's not been doing very well. And I mean, I got on my soapbox a little bit, but luckily it was partially because it was a text message that I didn't overdo it. That does help, believe it or not. When you don't have the person's face in your face and all the rest of that stimulus around you, or stimulant, whatever they call it, then your brain isn't so overwhelmed. I really like it when I'm bored and I'm responding to someone, because then I'm detached automatically, which then means the overfocus gets dropped down automatically. Ah, I should take that back. It started in text message, but then she called me, and because the conversation had started in text message, um, I didn't overdo it. I did overdo it a little bit still, but she was following me. She understood what I was saying. Zach gets it. Her son, he gets it. He's probably the one I really should sit down and have a nice conversation with, because he actually understands what I'm saying. I miss that kid. I'm so worried about him. He's got the makings of something not so good. It's a make or break type situation. It's mark my words and mock them later. he he's very confused by his mom right now. He doesn't understand what's going on with her. Why her brain just it, like most people, he looks at a person that doesn't have a broken leg and thinks there's nothing wrong with you. You're laying in bed and you don't get out of it. That's all. If she had a broken leg, then it would make sense to him why she doesn't get out of bed. If you could actually see a part of someone's brain missing on a brain scan, then it would make sense to you why they get brain fog or their memory goes away. But because that's not how it works, there's nothing to see. It's invisible. The pain, the monster, everything, it's all invisible. And so it doesn't exist unless you're the person sharing the bed with the monster, laying in bed with the pain. Otherwise, no one else can see it. Oh boy. But I explained to her one of the ways to explain it. That's one of the problems I think I have. There's two different ways to explain it. And for as much as I wish I could settle on one, because they kind of they don't contradict each other, but they sound like they're saying two different things. One sounds like it's the brain doing this on purpose. Something's not right, so now it's going into like a limp mode and acting more sick than it really is to get your attention. And I do believe that in some cases, like in Terry's. But in other cases, I talked about how it's like the brain is a big machine, and it's like there's this great big gear turning. And when something happens that doesn't make sense and it hurts us and it gets stuck, actually gets stuck in the brain, it causes like a little spur on that gear. Well, just like any machine, a little spur on that gear may not be a big deal. Every time it passes by, it causes a little hiccup and then goes on. You know, those moments where somebody acts funny and then it goes away, like it never happened. And so you don't think anything of it. And you don't worry about it. And you don't keep it in mind either. So that later on in life, when you're sitting there trying to say, well, did they have any problems when they were little? No, they didn't really have any. Well, actually, come to think of it, there was something, but I can't remember what it was. A couple times there was this weird thing they did, and it was just so out of character. But I just can't remember what it was now. Oh darn! Wouldn't that be nice if they could remember that? But anyway, yeah, those are the little hiccups, and that machine causes those little hiccups, and that spur goes through whatever. But as time goes by, and either more spurs get added to the wheel, or um, what's the one? A lot of times one little screw up thing can end up affecting other areas of the machine and causing them to screw up too. So that's, you know, what ends up making one little sick thing turn into several little sick things or big sick things or however you want to look at it. But it's like two different explanations, and it's difficult to settle on one. And for as much as my brain is saying I need to settle on one, my brain is also saying no, they both work. There are times where I look at some people and I say, no, that's the machine. And there are times I look at someone and say, no, your brain's doing that on purpose. Anyway, I take a break for a minute and mute this. I'll be back. I'm back. Sorry. I had someone who came down the steps. I had to use the restroom and the cat needed something. Anyway, probably won't say too much more on the sorry thing. Maybe later, I don't know. Who knows? One of the things that got me even thinking about the video, doing this video, was because of the whole holding on to stuff, hoarding thing. So it's a lot like what I've been talking about when it comes to like anxiety and like and God said Robin thing. Yeah, God said, "I've got your answer. I mean, I'm going to give it to you, but you're not going to go. You're not going to go when, where, how, what, who, or what is going to, So then it's like keeping stuff because you could find your answer in it. Now, for anybody who's not a hoarder, and even people who are hoarders, no one's going to really understand that. But these things, they're important, but they're not really important. If you look at them, the more attached that you are, the more kind of crazy you act when it comes to holding on to it, kind of the more you're not actually attached to it. You are, just in an incorrect way. It's like being so worried about the dog over in Japan that just died. You're staring at your computer, you've got tears rolling down your eyes. You're just, oh my gosh, that poor dog, all while your actual children are downstairs waiting for whenever you decide to come down and make dinner. It's getting your priorities confused type thing. Anyway, what did I say about it? I said a really good one last night too, and I can't remember what it was now. But it was political. I don't know if I can talk about it anyway. Trump, the deadbeat dad, but not with his own kids. Has nothing to do with his kids. Has nothing to do with children at all. Has to do with something else big in his life. Anyway, the hoarding thing. Okay, so oftentimes, whenever we feel like we have to go, really? I can't upset his playing. Now he stopped. Okay, Toby. Oftentimes, when we feel like we've gone wrong in our life, we will sometimes consciously, subconsciously look back on where we went wrong. While the items that we're holding on to might be kind of a point in that direction. That cat's confusing me. Really? Now he's just playing with the bag. You're funny, boo. Who's your funny boo? We're holding on to these items because that can sometimes, our brain thinks, and not that it can't, because it can, but where we went wrong, that's where we can get our answer from. For example, let me see if I can do this. So this girl's holding on to this jump rope. And so the reason why is because, you pick up the jump rope and you think about the fact that you and your sister were, if it hadn't been for, you fighting, this is the way your brain will look at it. Because it's going to look at you first. And if it hadn't been for, you fighting with your sister that day, she wouldn't have fallen off the wall, over the jump rope. She wouldn't have fallen off the wall and then ended up in, a wheelchair for the rest of her life. But the thing is, you were both fighting. And she actually started it. Because what the jump rope actually represents was the last thing that your father ever gave to you before he went away to war and didn't come back. So, but our brain will focus on, I don't want to say the less scary thing, but it's going to focus on the thing that makes us feel more badly, especially when it's not even our fault. Like I said, you were both fighting over the jump rope, and she started it. So if she ended up in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, I'm sorry that happened to her. You were children, you were both fighting, blah, 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 all that. But the real thing, the real issue about the jump rope is because of the dad thing. And even though it wasn't technically the last thing you ever got from your father, it was the last thing he physically ever handed you. And he handed it to you. It was for both of you, but he handed the package to you. You were the older one, we'll say. Or you were the younger one. Who knows? Whatever. And so your brain holds on to that jump rope. Now, is that the worst thing in the world to hold on to that jump rope into your adult life, as a memoir of whatever? No. But when you end up holding on to other things too, then it becomes a problem. That's when it becomes the hoarding. Anyway, I'm over talking. And I've stopped cleaning, which is no good. So I'm going to go clean. You may or may not hear me. I don't know. We'll see. I may or may not leave it on. Because if I don't get my cleaning done, that's really going to cause problems. Oh, Benji fixed your ball with some stickers. That would be nice for them. You want a ball? Here it goes. Okay. Now, if you could learn how to catch and bring it back to me, I'd roll it again for you. Bring it. Get it. Bring it here. No, you're just going to sniff it. Okay. You're definitely not dogs. Should have trained you when you were kittens. Ready? Who's gonna get the ball? Woo! Who's gonna jump up and get it? There's 3 of you. Go fetch. See? Go fetch. Get the ball. Get the ball. Here it is. Who's gonna get the ball? Who's gonna get the ball? Who's gonna get the ball? Seriously? I would roll the ball over and over again if you guys would just get it and bring it to me. Even laying in bed, I would. Okay. Good job. Oh. You could wipe it out. Right back. am going to, I think, I'm going to try to, it may or may not be visible. What do you call it? Remember that story I was writing a while back? I'm going to use it in a play on stage. Parts of it. There's a theater near us, not near us, but close by, that does like 10, 15-minute long skits, little shows, a collection of like 10, 15-minute little shows. And I was going to pick a couple of the scenes from my book to do in the show, which is going to be exciting if I can actually do it. I'm going to pick the Love Look Away one, and also the Chili. I can't remember what I titled it, but the one about the chili. I think I told you about it. If I didn't, I'll tell you. The person that the girl is trying to get the guy to eat because he doesn't eat, and he has a lot of heartburn, or so she thinks, because he takes this medicine all the time. He kind of like looks like he has heartburn, and then he takes this medicine, and because he like clears his throat or something. I can't remember what it is he does, but anyway. So because of that, she thinks, the reason you have heartburn all the time is because you don't eat. I don't know why she thinks that. That's just how the dream went. I don't argue. So she's decided she's going to get him to eat. And what better thing than her famous chili? So she decides she's going to make the chili. And all the other guys in the warehouse, they all like the chili too, so it'll work out good. The problem is how to get him to actually eat some. She knows if she can get him to eat it just one time, she'll have him hooked on it. But she doesn't have a way of getting him to eat it. So, wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm putting light bulbs in a box. Stupid dimmer switch thing. I don't know what that's all about. And it ends up screwing up. I don't know if I'm doing this right. I'm so tired of technology. It's not helping us. It's really not. I have no clue how they put those stupid light bulbs in this box. Oh my gosh. That'll be the next thing I dream about, light bulbs. Anyway, so in order to get him to eat the chili, since she's making the big pot of chili for all the people in the warehouse, and of course she doesn't want to screw it up, she's got to make sure the chili tastes right. But she figures out that if she can't eat it for some reason, like if she had a cold, she wouldn't be able to taste the chili. So she wouldn't know if it tasted the way it's supposed to taste. So somebody else has to taste it. And since nobody else is home but him that day, it's going to have to be him. But now the problem is, how do you fake a cold? Well, there's definitely some things that can help you get a cold. Can cause like the sneezing and stuff like that. But what? Of course, as she looks around, there's a lamp and it's got dust on it. So she decides, hey, that's a good idea. So she goes to put her hand on the lamp, forgetting it's on. Ouch. But of course, and when she says ow, that makes him look up from his desk. So now she's got to hide the dust that she's got in her hand, right? Instead of being able to take the dust right to the kitchen, she's now got to hide it because he'll see. So she sticks her hand in her pocket real fast. What was it? Oh, that's what the reason why is because he says, "Let me see your hand. You burned your hand on the lamp, on the light bulb thing." And so she's got to hide her hand in her pocket real quick, and she put the dust in her pocket. But as we all know, when she gets to the kitchen, tries to pull the dust out of her pocket, it's not there anymore, right? So now she's got to come up with a different way to do it. So she looks around and she sees hot sauce. Hey, hot sauce will do it. Hot sauce will make your eyes run, and water, and your nose run, and your eyes will get red. And, yeah, that's perfect. So she pours a little bit in her hand because she's just going to sniff it a couple times. And I can't remember, I don't have the story in front of me, so I can't remember exactly how or why. But somehow or another, she ends up not sniffing it. She ends up getting too close, I think, and then ends up like getting it up her nose. And from that, she just now this the comical part, because you see this girl in this kitchen and she's trying to be as quiet as possible as she's in so much pain. Because if she's not quiet, then he'll come in and he'll know what's going on. He'll see something's wrong at least. He won't know what's going on, but he'll see something's wrong. So, so she's got to be quiet. All at the same time, she's like, oh my gosh, gasping for air. It hurts. Oh my gosh, it hurts so much. Well, needless to say, basically, she does end up. He doesn't try the chili. She doesn't even get him to try the chili. Because what was it? She had been crying. That's what it was. I forgot that part. She had been in the kitchen with him, and she kind of tried to fake the cold, but he kind of looked at her funny. And just because she wasn't, she was talking like she had a cold, they talked like this, I think I'm coming down with something. I can't, can you try this chili? That kind of thing. But it didn't work. So she had to actually show she had a cold. He said, I don't think you have a cold. He said, give it a little bit of time. I think you'll be fine. So that's why she had to really show that she had a cold coming on. Well, needless to say, after she does all that, she does end up in bed and she has a cold. And this is the part where it kind of cuts to just the light on her, because it's supposed to be her thinking in her head. Or maybe she's thinking out loud. I don't know. I can't remember. But she's basically saying all that work and it did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then she turns her face over to look over at the desk where he would be working. And he's not there. But a bowl of chili, now eaten, is sitting there. And she's not the one who ate it. So then she ends up smiling and falling back to sleep, sneezing and then falling back to sleep. So, that's going to be a fun little skit thing. Hopefully I can find it. It's buried in my phone somewhere. I just took all the notebooks for the story to storage. That was not the smartest idea because I need that part with Love Look Away. Oh, shoot. It's not that difficult, though. I already have that one figured out. That's the one where he leaves and goes on his date. One of his dates. And she's in the kitchen. And he takes Hercules with him, the dog. And she and Xena, she's washing dishes in the kitchen, and she sees through that little window, because she sees Xena get up when Michael calls Hercules to him. And she sees Xena get up and kind of look over, because Hercules had been with her. And so she's got, she lays back down. She's fine. She's not pressed or anything. But they leave. And so then the girl stands at the window and she tells Xena, the dog Xena, um, the play-by-play of what's going on outside the window, and how she just figured they were going out to the car to get in the car, but there's actually another car that pulled up, and some woman gets out, leggy woman gets out, and even in the snow, she's wearing the shorter skirt dress thing and heels, even in the snow. So of course she has to be carried, or she has to be, babied in some way. So then he opens the door for her through his car and helps her into it. And she's got a dog with her too, a little dog. Hercules is this big dog, and this other dog is this little dog. We're gonna have a play date for our puppies. Anyway, so then she watches the two of them as they're getting into the car, and then she has to look away because she at first she was being funny, like a sports announcer, and it's the wind up and the pitch, that whole deal. And she says it kind of like that. And they're heading for the car. They're getting ready to get into the car. He's hit the button on the key fob. Will the door unlock? Has the battery been replaced? Yes, it has. And the door unlocks. And then that's when the other car pulls up. And then that girl gets out. And then so the sportscaster voice starts kind of fading off, dying away, as it starts saying what's really going on outside. And and then that's, then she has to look away from the window. And looks at Xena. And I can't remember if it's when if she looks back at the window and then starts singing, or if she's looking at Xena and singing. And that's when she starts the part, I've dreamed before, I will dream no more, instead of I wish, which is what in the original song she says is wish. Instead she says dream. And at least in the dream, that's what she did. And then she goes through she starts singing the whole song and everything as she's, now she's sad, she's finishing up the cleaning in the kitchen, but not really. Folds the towel up, puts it down, starts to walk up the steps. And as she gets to the top of the steps, and then there's the door to go in the apartment, or whatever you want to call it. And there's like one of those like dressing screens. Now, when I had the dream, I had it there was no dressing screen, there was no costume change, or there's just a magic costume change, I guess, from like a t-shirt and jeans thing. And then there was dreams where there was the dressing screen. So, however, I don't know, whatever would be workable in the play itself. Because she ends up going past the dressing screen, but she doesn't stop. There's no pause at all in her stepping. Like she walks past it, and the silhouette there's a tiny silhouette on the dressing screen. Not tiny, but it faded. But you can see it's a person that is literally just walking past, walking through completely. There's no stopping at all. But as she comes through from the other side, she's wearing a nightgown now, one of those big flowy nightgown type things. And she gets to the big balcony doors, and she opens them, and as the climax of the song happens, that's when she's, got the balcony doors open and looking out down the street, because you can see this car that's, it's the snow scene. It's nighttime snow scene, so there's light snow falling, but you can see this dark car, one of those SUVs, whatever they call them, driving down the road away from the warehouse. And then it turns right or left, whatever. And um, and then it's gone, and that's the end of the song, right? So I think it's going to be interesting if I can actually pull it off. Um, it's sad because when I went to my brother's play, this is how I even found out that they were going to do these kind of things. But I went to my brother's play, and what was it? I can't remember. It was about 2 years ago, I think it was. Anyway, that's where I saw them do those little skip things. But I found out you have to be vaccinated to be part of that stuff, and I'm not because of my heart medicine. So I couldn't do it there. Well, then, not long after that, I went to another play of my brother's that he had in another theater, and um, they said, yeah. I mean, I got real excited at first. Like, I was real excited about this first theater. And I played all in my head. Like, I even had a dream of doing that in that theater. I shouldn't say a dream. That wasn't a sleep dream. That was a daydream, we'll say. I think that was more of a daydream. But anyway, the point is, my head was like set on that. The picture in my head that got painted. This is what looks right. This is what makes sense. Right. Just dead set on it. Well, and then I found out you have to be vaccinated, and I was like, oh man, that's no good. Well, then shortly after that was when I went to another theater for my brother's other play, and I happened to be talking to somebody during intermission. They were having some snacks and stuff, and people were getting ready to go back in for the show, and I think I was making a donation, and I can't remember how it even came about. But basically, I ended up talking to this older man. I ended up talking to him about it. I was talking about how, you know, I wish I could do a little skit. I've had some ideas or something. And I said, but the only problem is that I can't, that theater, you have to be you have to be vaccinated at the theaters. And he said, you don't have to be vaccinated here. I'm like, oh, really? He said, no, that I'm aware of. That's not a law yet. And I am the director of this place. So I kind of would know that. So I was like, yes, it's like perfect. It's a perfect setup to go do that at this theater instead of the other theater, right? It's all set up. And yet my brain says, no, I can't do it. Because my brain is stuck on the picture that's in my head of the original theater. So, how to fix something like that? Well, first of all, you have to recognize that that's what you're doing. That you're not just getting stuck and saying, no, I can't do it. I don't know why. I just can't. I don't know why. You have to say, I do know why. It's because in my head, I originally saw the first theater, not the second one. And when my brain said that makes sense, that's what got stuck. This personal data of yours is currently for sale online. Geez, wow, what a way to come up. It didn't just pop up, it rolled up out of the screen. Shut up, Norton. I am so tired of you. I really am. I really hate Norton. I don't know if they're a good company or not, but I hate them because they just keep throwing these pop ups. They want to scare you. Anyway, I forgot where I was before Norton decided to roll up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oops. Oh well. Shoot. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. How to fix that. So now, basically, there's a fact in my head. You have to look at it like that. Like I said, there's this picture, it's painted, it's perfect, it makes sense, it's just right, it feels good, and it makes sense. I have to find a way to make a new fact better, the the top fact, the better fact, in order to be able to change things. And it's tough because even though I've sat there and I've tried to go through it in my head of different ways to do it in the second theater, actually even better ways to do it, because technically the second theater has a more raised, it looks like an actual theater, whereas the other one was just um, a big open room that had, you know, a tiered situation going on. I think, I don't know. No, I think it, no, I think it was a big open room, and they just would put things out. I don't know. It wasn't a theater looking place. You wouldn't walk into that room normally and say, "Oh, this is a theater." Whereas the second place, you actually walk in and it is a theater. Curtains, all that. So technically, the second place would be better because it actually has the raised stage. The problem is that in order to use that raised stage and then the lower area as well, the lower area is then flat on the floor with the rest of the audience. So then for people to be able to see that are like in the back rows and stuff, they won't be able to see. So you'd almost have to create another little tiny raised stage just off the floor. Hmm. But see, in my mind, even when I think about possibly doing that, I can already feel my brain saying, no, 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 no. And I know why. Because the law, the rules. Am I the director? No. So I can't make those kind of changes. Even though in the past they may have done something like that. My brain is saying, no, it's never been done. And we can't be adventurous in that way, if that makes sense. Might be a little confusing to say it that way, but I get it. At this point, I would have to be able to communicate with that director and see if I get the okay to doing stuff like that. Um, One of the reasons the first theater also made sense was because they used a big like TV type screen, not a TV, it was like a projector, a screen, I guess. And that was how I was going to make it so that when she opened up the balcony doors, you could see this car driving off into the distance. This on this little projector screen thing. But they don't have that. This is silly. This is how our brains get stuck, and it's silly, I know, but the second theater doesn't have that. So automatically my brain says, no, the first theater has that, not the second one. Instead of being able to say, what if we put a projector screen in that second theater? Well, now what? Does it work now? Maybe. But we don't have a projector screen, and we don't know if they do. So since we don't know if the second theater has a projector screen, we have to say no, they do not. Even though that's not, I know most people are going to be like, well, that's not true, because just because you don't know something doesn't mean it couldn't be. It could be. That's a what if, though. So when the brain is functionalizing like that, it has to look at the what is and only the what is. So what is, do they have a projector screen? I do not know that. But since I do not know that, I have to look at that as a no, because I've never seen, have I ever seen a projector screen on their stage? No. Then no, they don't have one. See how it just automatically does that, shuts off to it, because no, I've never seen one, so no, they don't have one. Anyway, I just heard a bird. Actually, I heard a bird singing the other day. One time, that was it. Is that a sign that spring is coming? Oh, what a scary time. Can't hide inside the house anymore, right? Or at least I don't have an excuse to. See, right now it's cold out. So it makes sense not to. But it's so funny. Toby gets along with Jerry better than he does Isabel. And I can see why. I know people probably think I'm nuts. Because you're like me. She's not like me. So she doesn't make sense. And if Toby wasn't fixed or didn't have some of the mental issues he has, even, he may look at her and say, "You don't make sense, but you do make sense." Take away that ability, add some mental health issues. Now something that doesn't make sense just stays that. You make sense only because you're like me as a feline, but not like me as a gender. He smells Jerry, and Jerry smells like him. Yeah. Am I talking about you? I am. I am. Talking about my Toby. Talking about my Toby. Huh? 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 Talking about my Toby. Were you nice to Isabel? Where's Bells? Were you playing with Bells? Now if I put catnip on her. Oh, then they're friends. No, not really. Anyway. I know why the cage bird sings. I know why the cage bird doesn't sing. And I have no clue. Anyway, I've really got to get these guys vacuumed and the floors vacuumed. And I'm sitting here talking on the thing again. So I think that's it. I'm going to turn it off because we're not getting anywhere. Why was I even saying? Well, the notebooks are in storage. Yeah. I remember one thing. Kids live with their parents. Oh, I'll talk about it another time. Anyway, that's it. Gonna end this so I can get some cleaning done, real cleaning.